There comes a moment when the mind stops turning back toward what broke it. The noise dulls. The need to explain dissolves. The story that once consumed every thought fades into background static. That is when forward motion begins. The past still breathes somewhere, but it no longer commands. The eyes stop searching for closure in memories that have already testified their truth. What was done has been seen. What was lost has been learned. When the heart finally accepts that not everyone deserves revisiting, peace begins to take root. No grand speech, no dramatic ending, just stillness. The kind of stillness that frightens those who depended on your reaction. You've stopped looking back, not out of denial, but design. The road ahead demanded both hands on the wheel, and you gave it. Now, the rear view holds ghosts that wave, but none you owe a return. The people who once fed on your confusion sense the change before you announce it. They feel it in your absence. Your silence used to belong to them, a pause they could fill with guilt, excuses, or control. But now it belongs to no one. It stretches like a border around your new self. You don't check who crosses it because none can. The heart that once sought understanding has become a fortress, not guarded by anger, but by indifference. You no longer crave resolution from those who caused the storm. You've realized storms explain themselves eventually. That realization ends the chase. Growth often looks like distance, but it's simply alignment. Every step forward pulls you closer to truth and further from noise. And behind you, the past calls, but you no longer answer. The sound no longer reaches where you've climbed. You've stopped looking back, because the summit was never meant to share space with regret. The world has a strange respect for those who stop chasing what broke them. It doesn't give applause, but it adjusts. People start to look at you differently. The same ones who once underestimated your silence now struggle to read it. They can't tell if you've forgiven them or forgotten them, and that mystery keeps them restless. That's power, the kind that needs no declaration. When you stopped looking back, you reclaimed your authority. Because looking back is a negotiation with ghosts, and you've ended all contracts with the dead. Every morning feels lighter, because the past no longer steals weight from the present. The faces that once demanded attention fade into outlines. The memories that once felt sharp now fold into lessons. You no longer need revenge or closure or validation. You found something rarer: neutrality. A steady pulse that moves only forward, never circling the same wound twice. At first, letting go felt like betrayal. The mind clung to what was familiar, even if it was painful. It replayed conversations, rewrote endings, invented apologies that would never come. But repetition breeds awakening. After a while, even pain grows tired of itself. The same story loses flavor when healing starts whispering louder. You didn't wake up one day suddenly cured. You simply grew exhausted from bleeding for the same cause. Slowly, the energy once spent on proving your worth turned into the art of preserving it. That's how the shift happened. Not in one moment, but across many small ones. You stopped replying to provocations, stopped explaining your piece, stopped reopening doors just to prove you could walk away again. You learned that freedom is not the absence of memory. It's the mastery of direction. You finally understood that peace doesn't demand permission. It demands distance. Those who still live in your past mistake your silence for weakness. They think you've moved on too easily. But they don't see what it took to stand that still. The quiet is not emptiness, it's evolution. The soul stops asking for fairness once it sees how life self-corrects. You no longer analyze who lied, who stayed, who left. The truth has already done its work. The need to reframe it has expired. That's what unnerves them most, your lack of interest. Indifference wounds the ego more deeply than anger ever could. You stopped looking back, and that decision dismantled their control. Because without reaction, their power evaporates. You've outgrown the emotional gravity that once kept you circling around them. What used to hold you now feels weightless. Time didn't heal you. Awareness did. You realize some people don't deserve confrontation, they deserve distance. And distance, once chosen, rewrites everything. Moving forward became addictive once you felt how light it was. The quiet hours that used to ache began to feel sacred. You started filling them with creation, purpose, presence. The silence that once echoed now hums with direction. You stopped seeking understanding from those who never spoke your language. Instead, you built your own dialect of calm. Progress replaced closure. There's something powerful about not explaining your piece. It makes the past irrelevant, the future magnetic. You stopped looking back because the horizon finally offered something real. Growth became your form of revenge, but not in malice, in mastery. Every step forward is a subtle declaration that you were never destroyed, only refined. The more you create, the more their absence becomes proof, not pain. That's the reward of moving on correctly. You stop competing with ghosts and start dancing with destiny. Memory doesn't disappear, it just learns its place. The past still visits sometimes, dressed in old music or familiar faces, but it no longer stays. You nod to it, the way one greets a lesson already learned. There's no bitterness left, only recognition. That's how you know you've healed, when remembering no longer costs energy. You stopped looking back, not because the view was ugly, but because the path ahead finally felt like home. There's a stillness to that kind of progress, a quiet dominance that speaks louder than explanation. People start to sense it in you. They call it mystery, but it's discipline. They call it detachment, but it's freedom. You carry your calm like armor now. Nothing to prove, nothing to chase. Just momentum, clean, precise, unstoppable. The eyes face forward, the heart faces truth, and the past, for once, stays behind you where it belongs. Every story has a moment when the main character stops searching for the villain and realizes the story was never about revenge. It was about evolution. You reach that point the moment you stopped looking back. All the chaos that once defined you became data. Every betrayal turned into calibration. What once felt like loss became direction. You've grown into someone the past could not recognize. That's why it no longer pulls you. It has nothing left to offer that you haven't already transcended. Your silence became a weapon of refinement, not rebellion. You walk with the same calm that once made them uneasy, only now it serves no one but you. Each step forward confirms a truth the past could never accept. You outgrew the narrative. They wanted a reaction, but you became resolution. And resolution never looks back to seek applause from the noise it outlasted. The horizon feels different now. It's not about escape, it's about expansion. The further you move, the smaller everything behind you becomes. Faces that once filled your world now fade into silhouettes. The voices that once shaped your doubt dissolve into echoes. Distance reveals proportion, and proportion reveals truth. You see clearly now who contributed and who consumed. You understand that not every connection was meant to last. Some existed only to teach boundaries. You carry those lessons like weapons polished by time. There's no desire to return, no need to prove anything. What's ahead calls louder than what's behind. The world still tests you, still throws reminders, but the mind that has learned not to look back cannot be trapped again. That's the essence of freedom, not the absence of pain, but the refusal to revisit it. They'll catch glimpses of what once was, but never the whole picture again. You'll hover just out of reach, close enough to remind them, far enough to deny them peace. That's the way time rewrites attachment. It turns what was familiar into something unreachable. They'll scroll through old photos, not to remember, but to reimagine. Yet even nostalgia feels foreign now. Every attempt to feel you again only deepens the distance. Because what they miss no longer exists. What they abandoned transformed while they weren't looking. The version of you they could manipulate, explain, or control no longer breathes. What stands in its place is something elevated, untouchable. You don't seek revenge, you've evolved beyond need. You hover like a constellation, visible, real, but no longer within their grasp. They can see what they lost, but not touch it. That is punishment far colder than absence. It's awareness without access. Life will keep placing reflections of you in their path. They'll meet people who speak like you, think like you, even carry your calmness, but none of them will be you. That realization will settle slowly, like frost on glass. They'll reach for comparison, but every attempt will fail because authenticity can't be replicated. The distance between who you were and who you've become will widen each year, and they'll remain frozen in the version of the past they destroyed. You won't have to remind them of what they lost. The world will do it for you. Every act of grace they witness will echo your energy. Every moment of genuine kindness will sting. Because deep down, they'll remember what it felt like when such energy once belonged to them. You'll remain suspended in their story, untouchable yet unforgettable. That's the strange justice of growth. It doesn't scream. It simply outpaces those who tried to contain it. The universe has a cruel way of teaching people value through distance. When they had access to you, they mistook patience for permission. They confused kindness with softness. They thought your silence meant surrender. But distance exposes everything proximity conceals. Once you stepped back, they started to see what presence actually meant. Your calm was not passivity, it was control. Your stillness was not weakness, it was strength withheld. From afar, they finally understand the magnitude of what they mishandled. But by the time clarity arrives, access is gone. That's the irony. They now see your worth in full view, but can never reach it. They'll spend years replaying conversations, rethinking their tone, trying to decode what made you so unshakable. Yet every answer leads to the same truth. You were never meant to be possessed. You were meant to be understood, and they lack the awareness for that. Sometimes they'll convince themselves they've moved on. They'll build new connections, rehearse new smiles, fill the spaces where your presence used to live. For a while, it might even work. But growth leaves a residue. Energy doesn't forget. Every new person will eventually reveal the same lesson. None of them hold the depth you carried. They'll sense the difference, the subtle gravity that once surrounded you. It will bother them without explanation. You'll linger in gestures and silences, in the way they hesitate before trusting again. You won't haunt them out of vengeance. You'll exist like a scent on clothing they can't wash out. It won't hurt constantly, just when life slows down enough for reflection. That's when your image returns, sharper than memory should allow. You became the horizon of their growth, visible, inspiring, unreachable. No matter how far they travel, they'll always feel your shadow following just a step behind. When you step beyond reach, something shifts in power. They lose the illusion of control, and in its place comes reverence. They used to analyze your reactions, predicting how you'd respond, measuring your boundaries. But now, unpredictability has replaced familiarity. They can no longer read you. You've outgrown their understanding. That's what terrifies them most. The realization that silence evolved into authority. You hover just out of reach, not to tease, but to transcend. They can't use the same tricks, because the board changed while they were still strategizing. Your growth rendered their manipulation obsolete. Every time they attempt to speak about you, they sound outdated, like someone quoting a language no longer spoken. You became something they can reference, but not replicate. That's the consequence of trying to control what was never owned. Eventually, what you suppress learns how to exist without you. There will come a day when they see you again, perhaps by chance, perhaps through something digital and detached. You'll look composed, self-contained, untethered. In that moment, they'll feel two things: admiration and loss, because they'll recognize the calm but not the connection. The eyes they once read will now hold a distance that humbles them. They'll want to say something, but the words won't form. Every apology rehearsed in their head will sound too small for the damage done. So they'll settle for silence, hoping you'll read it as understanding. But you won't. You've learned that some silence is not peace, it's consequence. You'll keep walking, not out of pride, but completion. You've already made peace with the ending they still deny. You don't need closure when detachment has become your language. You'll remain out of reach, not because you ran, but because they stayed where growth frightened them. Distance does something poetic to memory. It romanticizes what it can't reclaim. They'll start to rewrite the story, convincing themselves it was timing, misunderstanding, fate. Anything but accountability. That's the comfort delusion offers. It paints the past in softer colors to hide the sharpness of truth. Yet no rewrite can bridge what's gone. They'll still feel the magnetic pull whenever your name surfaces, that small tightening in their chest that says, "I ruined something good." You will hover there, quiet but commanding, the ghost of an opportunity they squandered. Not haunting them, but humbling them. You'll be the story they never finished telling, because the ending exposes too much truth. That's your legacy in their mind, the one that got away not through disappearance, but through evolution. And evolution, once begun, cannot be reversed. The beauty of distance is that it turns the lesson into art. You've become that lesson. You're the reminder that not everything lost is meant to return. They'll try to recreate the energy, to find a version of you in others, but imitation always reveals itself eventually. You remain untouchable because you no longer seek validation and recognition. You've transcended the need to be remembered correctly. They can misunderstand, misquote, misrepresent, but it changes nothing. The truth doesn't need agreement, it just needs time. And time has crowned you untouchable. Their perception no longer shapes your narrative. You exist beyond it, orbiting in a higher rhythm, free from the gravitational pull of their need. You hover not out of cruelty, but mastery. Freedom, after all, is not escape, it's evolution without resentment. Eventually, they'll stop trying to reach you, not because they stopped caring, but because they finally understand they can't. Some lessons can't be learned through apology. They can only be absorbed through absence. That's what your distance taught them. Their growth depends on living without what they once exploited. And so you'll remain, still hovering, a silent constellation in their conscience. Visible enough to inspire, untouchable enough to remind. You became the reminder that grace can be both gift and consequence. That silence, when earned, becomes legacy. You were not lost, you ascended. You didn't drift away. You elevated beyond reach. They'll watch your evolution with a mix of awe and ache, realizing too late that the person they once took for granted now exists in a frequency they'll never access again. They tried to move on, to rebuild the illusion of normalcy, but their peace kept tilting off balance. No matter how far they went, something kept circling back. It wasn't loud nor visible, but it was constant. That was you, an orbit around their conscience, quiet yet gravitational. Every time they started to feel steady, your memory pulled them like the tide pulls at the shore. They'd smile in public, but stillness always betrayed them. Because conscience never sleeps, it only waits. When they thought the world forgot, it reminded them through coincidence. A song that sounded too familiar, a phrase someone repeated the same way you once did. The universe has a habit of looping reminders until guilt learns its lesson. You became that loop, not to punish, but to balance. Energy demands symmetry, and theirs owed you a reckoning they couldn't delay. At first, they mistook the feeling for nostalgia. They told themselves they missed the past, not realizing it was accountability wearing memory's mask. They'd wake up with a weight that words couldn't explain, a quiet unease that clung to the morning. They tried to distract themselves with work, people, plans, anything that kept thoughts busy. But silence has a cruel sense of timing. The moment distractions fade, conscience begins its slow conversation. That's where you live now, not in their memories, but in their self-dialogue. You don't chase them, you revolve naturally, like gravity following physics. You exist as the unspoken reminder that actions have echoes. They can suppress it for hours, even days, but the orbit always completes its cycle. No guilt escapes its return. Every lie they told about you ends up circling back, stripped of disguise, asking the same quiet question. Was it worth it? There's a strange poetry in how guilt behaves. It doesn't scream or demand, it circles. Always at a distance, but never gone. They try to call it paranoia, overthinking, bad dreams. But conscience doesn't need a reason, it only needs memory. It never forgets who gave their best, who stayed kind, who walked away without malice. That awareness follows them everywhere, orbiting without end. When they laugh too freely, something inside whispers restraint. When they speak too proudly, something tugs them back. That pull is you steady and unseen. They can't name it, but they feel it. A faint disquiet that visits every time the world goes quiet. You became a quiet gravity their spirit can't escape. It doesn't punish them. It balances the equation. Energy doesn't vanish when betrayed. It redirects. And you became that redirection, the reminder that every choice creates its own orbit, and theirs just happened to circle around the truth they ran from. Their nights changed first. The day offers distractions, but darkness has no mercy. The mind slows, and conscience begins its rotation. That's when you appear, not as a ghost, but as clarity. In the half-silence before sleep, they replay everything they said and did, trying to rewrite it mentally. But even imagination can't outmaneuver truth. The mind can fabricate excuses, yet the soul knows better. You exist in that gap, the distance between who they pretended to be and who they actually were. They feel it like a pulse. The more they resist it, the closer you come. You don't torment. You simply exist where truth is unavoidable. That's the beauty of your orbit. It doesn't require confrontation, just time. Every rotation of conscience brings them a little closer to the realization they once refused to face. And when it finally settles, they'll call it regret, though it's always been recognition. In public, they seem composed, but there's a flicker that betrays them when certain words surface. Loyalty, forgiveness, integrity. Those words land like echoes from a past they thought was buried. You hover there, invisible but undeniable, circling above their pride. Each new accomplishment feels slightly hollow, because it rests on foundations they know were built dishonestly. Success loses taste when conscience keeps seasoning it with truth. They once believed distance could dissolve memory, but space changes nothing when guilt has learned your name. You became part of their emotional weather, subtle, unpredictable, unavoidable. They can pretend not to see you, but you're woven into their days like sunlight through blinds. Some mornings they almost forget. Other times, a scent or phrase drags the entire weight back. That's how conscience works. It doesn't chase retribution. It enforces balance through gentle reminders that never fade. They've tried to justify what happened. Rationalization is guilt's favorite disguise. They tell themselves that people change, that everyone makes mistakes, that you'd understand now. But understanding doesn't erase energy. It only amplifies it. They still sense the imbalance between what they took and what they gave. You hover at the edge of every conversation about honesty, quietly reminding them that truth was never the problem. It was their courage that failed. That awareness has made them quieter over time. They speak less confidently about others, hesitate before judging, think twice before acting. Without realizing it, your orbit has reshaped their morality. You didn't need to confront them to make them change. Their conscience did the work for you. What used to be arrogance has softened into self-observation. That's how guilt transforms into growth. It's guided not by noise, but by the steady pull of what remains unresolved. Every person carries an orbit like this, the unseen force of their choices. For them, you became the defining one, not through vengeance, but through presence. You taught them the kind of lesson only time can deliver. They learned that avoiding responsibility only deepens the gravity of guilt. The more they resisted reflection, the tighter the orbit became. Until one day, everything started aligning again. The truth, the memory, the silence. That's when remorse finally arrived. Not as an apology, but as understanding. They realized too late that you never sought revenge, you sought peace. And peace requires truth. They see now that your silence was never avoidance. It was mastery. The calm that comes from knowing life always circles back to balance. What was done in shadows returns through conscience, carried by the same energy it tried to escape. Sometimes, they think about reaching out. They imagine crafting a message, something casual yet redemptive, hoping to test if forgiveness still lives somewhere in your silence. But the thought alone carries weight. They hesitate because deep down, they know they don't deserve your calm anymore. You became sacred ground in their mind, a reminder of how much honesty costs and how cheaply they traded it away. So instead, they settle for thought. You orbit their conscience, and that orbit has become prayer. Every act of kindness they perform now, every restraint they show, every lesson they teach, it's all done in quiet repentance. They never say it aloud, but everything good they've become carries your fingerprint. You change them without contact. That's what conscience does. It turns pain into compass, guilt into gravity. There's beauty in that, even if bittersweet. You didn't destroy them, you redirected them. The orbit you created around their conscience became their silent teacher. Over time, guilt softened into humility, and humility birthed awareness. You were never their punishment, you were their mirror. And reflection, once seen, cannot be unseen. They learned the hard way that truth doesn't fade, it orbits. It remains close enough to remind, far enough to forgive. They won't say it, but you've become their measure of integrity, the invisible standard they now live by. Every time they pause before lying, or think twice before betraying, it's you circling back again. You became what conscience was always meant to be, a quiet gravitational force pulling humanity back to decency, one orbit at a time. They walked into your life, thinking they were so smart, so powerful, so untouchable. You know the type. They love playing games with people's feelings, breaking hearts, and crushing spirits. They picked you because they thought you'd be an easy target, just another person to use and throw away. But here's the funny part. They didn't see coming. You're not their victim. You're their teacher. And the lesson you're about to teach them, it's going to stick. Think about it. Every time they hurt you, you learned something new. Every lie they told made you better at spotting truth. Every time they betrayed you, you grew stronger. While they were busy playing their little games, you were getting tougher, smarter, more powerful. They thought they were breaking you down, but really, they were building you up. Like a boxer who gets stronger with every punch, you took their hits and turned them into strength. Here's what makes this so beautiful. They have no idea what's coming. They're still thinking they've got all the power, that they're in control. Meanwhile, you're changing. Every tear they caused, that's water helping you grow. Every time they pushed you down, that's just you learning how to get back up stronger. They thought they were writing your story, but really, they were just the opening chapter of your comeback. And trust me, they won't like the ending. Watch how confused they get when their old tricks stop working on you. It's like a kid who keeps trying to play the same prank, getting more and more frustrated when it doesn't work anymore. They try to hurt you. You grow stronger. They try to scare you. You get braver. They try to break you. You rebuild better. Everything they do to destroy you just makes you more powerful. And slowly, it starts to drive them crazy. The best part? You don't have to do anything except keep getting better. You don't need revenge. You don't need to fight back. Just keep growing. Keep improving. Keep turning their poison into your medicine. Because one day, they're going to look up and realize that the person they tried to destroy has become someone they can't touch. And that realization, it's going to hit them harder than any revenge ever could. Pay attention to how they start acting different when they notice you're changing. First, they'll try their old tricks harder, like turning up the volume when something's not working. Then, they'll start to panic. Because people like that, they only know how to deal with victims. They don't know what to do with survivors. And honey, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Each day you get stronger, their power gets weaker. It's like watching a bully realize their victim has been secretly taking martial arts classes. They throw their best punch, and suddenly it doesn't land anymore. They try their meanest words, but they don't hurt like they used to. Every weapon they used against you becomes useless, one by one, and they can't figure out why. That's when the real lesson begins. This isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. While they're stuck playing the same old games, you're leveling up. They're still using the same tricks they learned in high school, while you're turning into someone who could teach a masterclass in survival. Every blow they land just shows you another way to be stronger. Every game they play just teaches you another way to win. The universe has a way of balancing things out, and sometimes It picks the most unexpected teachers. You didn't ask for this role. You didn't want to be their life lesson. But here you are, getting stronger every day, turning into exactly what they need to see. Proof that you can't keep hurting people without consequences. Some people learn through love and kindness. Others, they learn by realizing they picked the wrong person to mess with. There's a special kind of justice in watching someone realize they hurt the wrong person. Not because you're going to hurt them back, but because you're going to succeed despite everything they did to stop you. Every time they see you smile, they'll remember when they tried to make you cry. Every time they hear about your success, they'll remember when they tried to break you. God put you in their life not to be their victim, but to be living proof that what goes around comes around. And sometimes it comes back stronger. Small cuts don't bleed much, but day after day, they leave scars. That's how they work. Not with big dramatic scenes that anyone could point to and say, that's abuse. Instead, they chip away at you, piece by piece. You're too sensitive. Can't you take a joke? Why do you always mess things up? Each comment feels small on its own, like pebbles dropping into a pond. But those ripples add up, turning into waves that wash away your confidence, your joy, your sense of what's real. Words become walls around your mind. Yesterday, you knew who you were. Someone with dreams, someone with worth, someone who deserved good things. But they keep talking, keep criticizing, keep pointing out every tiny flaw until you start to wonder. Maybe you are too sensitive. Maybe you do mess everything up. Maybe you're the crazy one for thinking there's something wrong with how they treat you. The scariest part? You don't even notice yourself starting to believe them. Through the fog of their lies, everything gets twisted. That friend who used to make you laugh, they tell you she's just pretending to like you. That job promotion you were proud of, they say you only got it because people felt sorry for you. That dream you had, they call it stupid, unrealistic, a waste of time. And slowly, like poison seeping into water, their words become your thoughts. You start to see yourself through their eyes, and everything looks ugly and wrong. Down in the dark spaces of self-doubt, their voice becomes your voice. You drop something. I'm so stupid. Someone disagrees with you. I must be wrong. Good things happen. I don't deserve this. Bad things happen. This is all my fault. Your mind becomes a courtroom where you're always guilty, always wrong, always to blame. The prosecutor? That's their voice in your head, using evidence they planted there one cruel comment at a time. Between what's real and what they tell you is real, a gap grows wider each day. You start doubting your own memory. Did that really happen? Am I remembering it wrong? Maybe they're right. Maybe I am imagining things. Maybe I am being too dramatic. This confusion isn't an accident. It's like someone rearranging furniture in a dark room. After a while, you stop trusting your own steps, afraid of crashing into something that wasn't there before. Your strength scares them. That's why they work so hard to convince you it's not real. Every time you stand up for yourself, they push harder to knock you down. Every time you show confidence, they double down on making you doubt yourself. They need you weak, confused, always questioning yourself. Because the moment you realize your true power, their game is over. So they keep you tangled in guilt, wrapped in self-doubt, drowning in confusion. Under their constant criticism, you become your own worst enemy. The prison they built in your mind doesn't need guards anymore. You police yourself now. You apologize for existing. You make yourself smaller. You give up dreams before they can tell you they're worthless. You hurt yourself before they can hurt you. It's like living in a house where all the mirrors are broken, and they keep handing you the shards, telling you this twisted reflection is the real you. Inside the maze of manipulation, you lose track of up and down. Good days become traps. They use them to make you doubt the bad ones. See? I can be nice when you behave. Why do you only remember the negative things? They rewrite history while you're still living it, making you question every feeling, every reaction, every memory. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while they keep changing the pieces behind your back. Light breaks through cracks. They didn't mean to leave. Maybe a friend says something that makes you pause. Maybe you read something that sounds too familiar. Maybe you just wake up one day and realize you're tired of carrying blame that isn't yours. The awakening is slow, like dawn creeping over a battlefield. But once you start seeing clearly, you can't unsee the truth. Their power was always built on making you believe their lies about yourself. This is why God put you in their life, not to be broken by them, but to show them how spectacularly their tactics can backfire. Every lie they told about you becomes a truth you get to disprove. Every way they tried to weaken you becomes another thing you learn to overcome. Every time they made you question your sanity, they were really just teaching you to trust yourself again. Not all wounds bleed, and not all scars show up in mirrors. If someone hits you, people see the bruises. They gasp. They offer help. They tell you to run. But mental abuse? Those wounds hide beneath your smile. They live in the way you flinch when someone raises their voice. They show up in how you apologize for everything, even the weather. They hide in the way you make yourself small in crowded rooms. No one brings casseroles to heal a broken spirit. No one offers bandages for a wounded soul. Memories leave marks deeper than any knife could cut. Years after the shouting stops, certain words still make your hands shake. Long after you've walked away, specific tones of voice can freeze you in place. A random song, a particular smell, even a harmless phrase. Suddenly you're right back there, feeling small, feeling worthless, feeling crazy. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. That knot in your stomach when the phone rings. The way your shoulders tense when someone's being too nice, because you've learned that kindness often comes with a price. The headaches that show up when you try to make decisions, because you still hear their voice telling you you'll choose wrong. These aren't just habits or quirks. They're your battle scars, telling stories of wars fought in living rooms and bedrooms, with words as weapons and silence as shields. Behind closed doors and drawn curtains, wars rage without a sound. No one sees how a simple, "you're too sensitive," can cut deeper than any blade. No one notices how "I'm just trying to help" can feel like a punch to the gut when it comes wrapped in manipulation. The battlefield looks like a normal house. The weapons look like normal conversations. The casualties are things you can't see. Trust, self-worth, the ability to believe in love without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Words thrown like grenades leave craters in your confidence. You're worthless. Boom. There goes your self-esteem. No one else will ever love you. Bang. Your trust in relationships shatters. You're crazy for thinking that. Crash. Your grip on reality shakes. Each explosion leaves no visible mark, but the damage spreads under the surface, like cracks in a foundation. Years later, you're still finding pieces of yourself that need to be put back together. Healing happens in layers, like painting over old walls. First comes the safety, getting away from the person who hurt you. Then comes the anger, realizing what they did wasn't your fault. Next is the grief, mourning the person you were before they started breaking you down. But the deepest layer, that's learning to trust yourself again, learning that your feelings are real, your thoughts matter, and your instincts aren't broken. It's the slowest layer, but it's the most important. Every fake smile you put on was another brick in your wall of survival. Every time you swallowed your words to keep the peace, you were learning how strong you really are. Every moment you spent questioning your sanity was actually teaching you how to trust your gut. The pain they caused doesn't show up in photographs, but it shows up in your resilience. In the way, you survived something that would have broken others. In how you kept your heart beating, even when they tried to convince you it wasn't worth the trouble. Through the shadows of doubt they planted in your mind, light still finds its way. Maybe it starts with a small rebellion, disagreeing with someone and realizing the world doesn't end. Maybe it's noticing that other people don't flinch when you share your opinions. Or maybe it's just waking up one day and realizing their voice in your head isn't as loud as it used to be. Healing isn't linear. It's more like waves, washing away their footprints from your beach, one tide at a time. Deep in the quiet moments between who you were and who you're becoming, understanding grows like flowers through concrete. Those invisible wounds, they're not just scars, they're stories of survival. Each anxiety, each fear, each moment of self-doubt isn't just damage. It's proof that you lived through something real, something that would have destroyed someone else. The fact that these wounds are invisible doesn't make them less valid. If anything, it makes you stronger, because you kept fighting, even when no one else could see the battle. Sitting alone with your pain feels like holding something sharp. Every way you turn, it cuts you. Most people try to run from their wounds. They cover them up, pretend they're not there, keep moving until they can't feel them anymore. But those wounds are like children crying in the dark. They don't stop hurting just because you ignore them. They get louder, more desperate, more demanding, until one day you realize the only way forward is to turn around and face them, to hold them gently, like you would hold a scared child, and say, "I see you. I hear you. Your pain matters. Your heart holds memories, like a box holds old photographs, some beautiful, some painful, all part of your story. When someone hurts you, it's easy to get angry, easy to want revenge, easy to build walls so high nothing can ever touch you again. But walls that keep out pain also keep out healing. The trick isn't to become harder, it's to become gentler. Not with them, but with yourself. To look at your younger self, the one who got hurt, and instead of saying, "You should have known better," saying, "You did the best you could with what you knew." Touch your scars with kindness, and watch how differently they feel. That moment when you trusted the wrong person. Stop calling it stupidity. Call it courage to believe in love. That time you stayed too long in a bad situation. Stop calling it weakness. Call it hope that things could get better. That decision you regret. Stop calling it failure. Call it a lesson you needed to learn. When you change how you talk to yourself about your past, you change how your past lives in your present. Every broken piece of your story deserves to be held in gentle hands. Society tells us to get over it and move on. Like healing is some race we're supposed to win. But real healing isn't about speed. It's about understanding. It's about sitting with your pain long enough to learn what it's trying to teach you. Not to torture yourself, but to truly understand yourself. To see how every crack in your heart let in light you couldn't have found any other way. Beneath the surface of your toughest moments, compassion waits like water in desert sand. It might feel strange at first, being kind to the parts of yourself you've spent so long being angry at. The part that trusted too easily. The part that hoped too long. The part that still misses someone who hurt you. These aren't your weaknesses. They're proof that your heart still works, despite everything it's been through. That's not something to criticize. It's something to celebrate. Inside the quiet space between hurt and healing, new understanding grows. Each time you catch yourself being harsh with your own heart, pause. Replace, "I should have known better," with "I know better now." Replace, "I was so stupid," with "I was doing my best." Replace, "I'll never trust again," with "I'll trust differently now." These aren't just words. They're keys unlocking doors in your own soul, letting light into rooms that have been dark too long. Breaking through old patterns feels like learning to walk again. You'll stumble. You'll fall. Old habits of self-blame will try to take over. But each time you choose compassion over criticism, you're building new neural pathways. Each time you speak to yourself with kindness instead of judgment, you're healing not just today's wounds, but every wound that came before. It's like planting gardens in all the places people once left scars. Between the world's harshness and your own healing, build a bridge of gentle understanding. Look at old photos of yourself and speak to that person like you'd speak to your best friend. You were so brave. You survived something really hard. It wasn't your fault. You deserve kindness. Watch how these words, spoken with compassion to your past self, begin to change your present self. Feel how they soften the hard edges of old hurts. Through the lens of compassion, your story transforms from a tragedy into a journey of incredible strength. Each wound becomes a well of wisdom. Each scar becomes a badge of survival. Each painful memory becomes proof of your resilience. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because you learned to hold it with gentle hands. You learned to see your own heart, not as something broken, but as something incredibly strong that kept beating despite everything. Digging for courage feels like searching for water in a desert. At first, you might think there's nothing there. Your hands shake when you try to stand up for yourself. Your voice trembles when you try to speak your truth. Your heart races when you think about facing your fears. But underneath all that fear, past all that doubt, courage sits like an underground spring, waiting to be found. It's not about being fearless. It's about being scared and taking that next step anyway. Sometimes courage whispers so quietly, you almost miss it. It's in the small things you do every day that most people never notice. Getting out of bed when your mind is telling you to give up. Smiling at a stranger when trust feels dangerous. Trying one more time when everything in you wants to quit. These moments don't feel brave. They don't look heroic. But string enough of them together, and suddenly you realize you've been brave all along, just in a quiet, steady way that most people don't talk about. Your heart already knows how to be brave. It proves it every time it beats after being broken. Think about it. After every betrayal, every heartache, every disappointment, that muscle in your chest just keeps going. It doesn't know how to quit. Even when you're sleeping, even when you're crying, even when you think you can't take anymore, your heart keeps beating. That's not just biology. That's courage in its purest form. Your body remembers how to be brave, even when your mind forgets. Deep under layers of doubt and fear, strength grows like roots in rich soil. You might not see it. You might not feel it. But it's there, getting stronger every time you choose to keep going. Every time you say no, when you used to say yes, just to keep the peace. Every time you choose what's right over what's easy. Every time you stand your ground when someone tries to push you around. These moments are like exercise for your courage muscle. Each one makes you a little stronger.
Welcome warriors who walk with storms in their eyes. Welcome shadows who rise even when the world whispers that they should fall. Welcome to every soul who has felt the weight of silent battles and still found the strength to stand. Welcome to you who carries a name powerful enough to vibrate through walls and stir curiosity in hearts that were never invited into your story. Because tonight, you must hear this truth. Your name outside is wild. They are fighting and stalking. Just to guess who you are. Texting, they are restless, trying to decode a life they were never given permission to enter. They wonder about your moves, because your silence is louder than their noise. Your presence is stronger than their doubts, and your growth is faster than their expectations. You don't know who wants you. That is the warning and the promise, tangled together like shadow and flame. You don't know who wants you, and yet you must rise anyway. There is an energy around you that you do not fully understand, an energy that draws eyes toward you in curiosity, attraction, fear, admiration, confusion. Maybe all at once, you walk into a room, and even when you try to keep your head low, even when you fold your power back into yourself, even when you whisper instead of speak, people feel it. They sense you the way night senses the moon and cannot refuse its pull. They look at you and see the mystery they wish they could solve. They watch your steps, waiting for a moment when your guard drops, hoping to catch something, anything, a fragment of your truth, a small glimpse of your direction, a clue to your inner world that you have locked behind. Discipline and quiet strength. They wonder who you talk to because they want to know if they still matter. They wonder who you text because they cannot stand the idea that your heart might be moving towards someone else, someone they cannot control, someone they cannot predict, someone who does not fear your greatness. They wonder because they feel the pressure of their own insecurity, and your growth stretches the distance between you and them, farther and farther until it feels like a canyon they cannot cross. But this speech is not about them. It is about you and the power you have not yet recognized in your own shadow. This is about the force inside you that makes people pay attention without you trying, the force that makes your existence feel like thunder approaching, the force that makes your name travel before you step into the room, as if the air itself is preparing for your arrival. You think you are small, sometimes. You think you are unnoticed, sometimes. You think you are forgotten, or doubted or overlooked, but you are not. The world is louder for you than you realize. The universe stirs differently when you move. Your life sends ripples because you were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to walk quietly through spaces that were designed to echo your footsteps. Your name is outside, doing things you do not even see. Your presence is creating reactions in people who will never admit it. Your silence is teaching lessons to those who once underestimated you. Your focus is unsettling. Individuals who expected you to crumble, and your strength is awakening feelings in people who did not know. They were capable of being influenced by you. Some watch you because they admire you. They want to grow like you. They want to learn from your steadiness. They want to understand how someone like you carries storms without collapsing. But others watch you because your growth threatens their comfort. Your discipline challenges their laziness. Your resilience reminds them of everything they abandon inside themselves. You unknowingly push them to confront their own choices simply by existing. You don't know who wants you. Some want you to rise because your rise gives them courage. Some want you to fall because your fall would soothe their insecurity. Some want your attention because it validates them. Some want your silence because your voice disrupts their illusion of control. And some want your heart because they see something in you they have never seen anywhere else, something rare, something powerful, something that cannot be duplicated, even if the world tried. You must be careful but not fearful. The world is watching, yes, but the world is watching because you carry something magnetic, not because you are in danger. You must be aware, but not paranoid. You must be wise, but not hardened. You must protect your energy, but not cage it. You must walk like someone who understands the worth of every step you take. Because these steps are signals to the universe, and the universe listens to you more closely than you know. Every time you change your routine, someone notices. Every time you upgrade your mindset, someone feels it. Every time you choose yourself, instead of chaos, someone senses the shift. Every time you grow, someone grows uncomfortable because your growth challenges the narrative they built about you in their mind. They thought you would stay the same. They thought you would stay predictable. They thought you would remain the version of yourself they once understood. But you move forward quietly, and your quiet forward motion is louder than every excuse they ever made. There is a darkness to becoming powerful, not a dangerous darkness, not a negative one, but a deep one, a weighty one, a silent one. The kind of darkness that holds wisdom, the kind of darkness that holds mystery, the kind of darkness that tells the world you are no longer accessible in the ways you once were. You no longer explain every choice. You no longer justify every feeling. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. And they feel it. They feel the new distance. They feel the new standard. They feel the new version of you rising like a shadow that finally realized it belongs to a giant. Your name outside is wild because you no longer trade your truth for acceptance. You no longer trade your peace for validation. You no longer trade your fire for approval. You no longer trade your heart for the temporary comfort of people who are never ready to handle who you are becoming. And so they wonder, they scroll, they talk, they guess, they analyze, they assume. They create stories in their minds trying to fill the silence you leave behind, because silence is power and you are beginning to understand how to use it. Every message you send is a mystery to those who once claimed to know you. Every decision you make is a shock to those who wanted you predictable. Every person you choose to speak to becomes a question in the minds of those who wish they still had access to you. You don't know who wants you, but the truth is, many want you. Many want your presence. Many want your light. Many want your attention, but few deserve it. And this is where your strength must grow. You must learn to be selective because not everyone who wants you is ready for you. Not everyone who wants you is meant to walk beside you. Not everyone who wants you is willing to protect the heart you carry. Not everyone who wants you understands the responsibility of being close to someone whose energy shifts. The air. Not everyone who wants you comes with good intentions. Some are drawn to your strength because they want to benefit without contributing. Some are drawn to your energy because they want to feed off it. Some are drawn to your mystery because they want the thrill of discovery, but not the commitment of handling what they find. But here is the deeper truth, the shadowed truth, the truth most people avoid. You don't know who wants you, and that is part of your power. Not knowing keeps you sharp. Not knowing keeps you grounded. Not knowing keeps you listening to your intuition. Not knowing keeps you selective. Not knowing keeps you growing in the dark, where no one can interfere with your becoming. Your power is not in being understood. It is in being undeniable. Your strength is not in being predictable. It is in being unstoppable. Your life is not meant to be open, like a book handed to anyone who asks. It is meant to be read only by those who earn the right to understand you. When people fight and stalk and guess, it is not because you are weak. It is because you are rising. You are awakening something inside yourself that others can sense before you can. You are moving into a version of yourself that demands attention, even from those who refuse to admit they notice you. You are becoming someone whose presence cannot be ignored, even by those who pretend not to see you. You are walking a path that was carved for people with endurance, heart, clarity, and fire. Your journey is darker right now because darkness is where foundations are built. Darkness is where roots grow. Darkness is where transformation happens. Darkness is where identity strengthens. Darkness is where you learn to walk without needing applause. Darkness is where you learn to trust yourself without needing confirmation. Darkness is where you learn to see with something deeper than sight. And while you grow in this powerful dark space, your name outside is running wild, causing noise, catching attention, stirring questions, because your evolution is becoming visible before you even announce it. The world senses it. The people around you sense it. Even those who pretend not to care still feel the pull. You become the topic because you are becoming powerful. You become the question because you are becoming rare. You become the mystery because you are becoming extraordinary. And once again, you don't know who wants you, but you must accept this truth. Many want you for reasons they will never say. Some want you because your strength makes them feel safe. Some want you because your heart is rare. Some want you because your silence is peaceful. Some want you because your presence is healing. Some want you because you remind them of the person they wish they could become. Some want you because they feel a connection they cannot explain. Some want you because your energy is unlike anything they have known. But many want you because your light exposes their shadows. Many want you because your growth makes them feel behind. Many want you because your transformation challenges their story. Many want you because they cannot stand to see you elevate without them. Many want you because your happiness threatens their comfort. Many want you because they want to control what they cannot understand, and you must keep rising anyway. You must keep moving forward without hesitation. You must keep choosing yourself without apology. You must keep walking your path without shrinking. You must keep building without explaining. You must keep shining without dimming. You must keep growing without permission. You are not here to satisfy their curiosity. You are not here to calm their insecurity. You are not here to make them comfortable with your progress. You are here to become who you are always meant to be. Someone powerful, someone rare, someone magnetic, someone unshakable, someone whose silence speaks louder than the noise around them, someone whose name holds weight, someone whose story inspires, someone whose walk creates echoes, someone whose presence shifts energy, someone whose heart changes lives, someone whose courage awakens courage in others, someone whose darkness turned into strength, and whose strength turned into purpose, and whose purpose turned into destiny. So let them wonder, let them guess, let them talk, let them scroll, let them assume, Let them try to piece together a puzzle they were never meant to solve. Let them watch from the outside while you build from the inside. Let them react while you rise. Let them whisper while you transform, because the truth has never changed. You don't know who wants you, but the universe knows who deserves you, and it will separate the two every time. Walk forward with that confidence. Walk with the kind of certainty that cannot be shaken by the noise. Walk with the kind of strength that does not require validation. Walk with the kind of presence that reminds the world you were chosen for something extraordinary. Walk with the kind of discipline that scares your doubts. Walk with the kind of heart that refuses to settle. Walk with the kind of energy that lifts only those who are meant to rise with you. Walk with the kind of mystery that protects your peace. Walk with the kind of power that comes from knowing your worth no longer needs permission. Your name outside is wild because you are becoming someone impossible to ignore. Your energy is shifting. Your path is unfolding. Your story is strengthening. Your destiny is calling anew. You are rising. You don't know who wants you, but you are about to find out who deserves you. And as you rise deeper into your strength, you will notice something changing around you. Something subtle at first, something almost invisible. A shift in the way people look at you. A change in the way the air feels when you enter a room. A strange pressure that follows your silence. People sense growth before you see it in yourself. They sense transformation before you speak it out loud. They sense elevation before you stand fully in it. Because energy moves faster than understanding, and your energy is running ahead of you, calling your future to meet you halfway. You will see it in the way certain people suddenly become too curious about your days, too invested in your choices, too observant of your movements, as if your life has become a map. They desperately want to read. They watch because they are afraid of being left behind. They watch because they feel you, pulling away from old cycles, old conversations, old insecurities, old versions of yourself that once gave them comfort. Your evolution threatens the story they built in their minds about who you used to be and who they expect you to remain. But you are not here for their expectations. You are here for your purpose, and purpose does not ask permission from anyone who refuses to grow with you. Some will try to get closer again, not because they understand your growth, but because they fear the distance that growth creates. They will wonder who fills the spaces they used to occupy. They will wonder who gets the fragments of your heart they once took for granted. They will wonder who you text, who you talk to, who you invest in now, that you are no longer pouring yourself into hands that never held you gently. They will search for clues because the silence between you and them has become too loud to ignore. Others will observe quietly from afar, studying your steps like patterns, trying to understand how you keep standing, how you keep moving, how you keep rising, even after everything that should have broken you. They do not realize that the storms you survived taught you endurance, the battles you fought taught you discipline, the losses you endured taught you self-respect, and the darkness you walked through taught you how to protect your light. Now you stand with the strength carved from every moment. You could have fallen but chose instead to rise, and there will be those who feel drawn to you without knowing why. People who sense something sacred in you, something rare, something they cannot explain. With simple words, they will feel warmth in your presence, calm in your voice, depth in your silence. They will see the world in your eyes in a way that others overlooked. They will be moved by your authenticity, even when you try to hide it. They will want to know your mind, your heart, your truth, not to claim it, but to respect it. These are the ones whose intentions carry light, the ones who are meant to walk with you in the chapters you have not yet written, but you still don't know who wants you. And that mystery is shaping you into someone wiser, someone more intuitive, someone who no longer opens doors. Just because someone knocks, you are learning that not every hand extended toward you deserves to be held. Not every voice speaking your name deserves to be heard. Not every presence near you deserves a place in your inner world. You are learning to separate want from worth, desire from intention, noise from truth. Your heart is becoming sharper. Your mind is becoming clearer. Your spirit is becoming stronger. You are beginning to see the difference between those who want you because they value you and those who want you because they fear losing access to what you bring. You are beginning to see the difference between those who come with sincerity and those who come with empty hands disguised as opportunity. You are beginning to see the difference between those who come to walk beside you and those who come to drain the power you spent years building. This is why the world feels heavier on your shoulders recently, because you are stepping into a new level where every choice matters, every person matters, every boundary matters, every silence matters, every inner voice matters. You are living in a time where your intuition must lead you more than your emotions because your future does not have room for repeated lessons you have already learned. Your heart must be protected, not hidden. Your power must be controlled, not diminished. Your peace must be guarded, not negotiated. And yes, the world outside is louder now because your inner world is finally waking up. Your name outside is wild because the path you are walking now is different from anything you have ever known. You are heading toward things you cannot yet imagine. Breakthroughs that will rewrite your life. Blessings that will reshape your identity. Opportunities that will elevate your direction. Relationships that will match your heart. Transformations that will align you with the person you were always meant to become. But the darkness around this stage of your life is intentional. It is the unknown that strengthens focus, the uncertainty that sharpens courage, the silence that builds discipline, the solitude that nurtures awareness. You are not lost. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not overlooked. You are being aligned. And while you walk through this refining season, others sense your glow before you see it. People feel your shift before you understand it. They feel your rise before you claim it aloud. They wonder because they can feel something changing in you. They talk because they can sense something waking inside you. They watch because they know you are no longer the person they once understood. They guess because they fear the truth, that you are becoming someone they can no longer reach, someone whose heart is too guarded for their carelessness, someone whose mind is too focused for their distraction, someone whose spirit is too elevated for their old patterns, someone whose future is too big for their small intentions. But hear this as clearly as your own heartbeat. You are not responsible for their confusion. You are not responsible for their discomfort. You are not responsible for their curiosity. You are not responsible for the assumptions they make in the quiet corners of their minds. You are only responsible for your purpose, your path, your growth, your heart, your calling. And this calling is growing louder every day, calling you to rise above the noise, calling you to release what no longer serves you, calling you to trust your own strength, calling you to honor the whisper within that says, keep going, keep growing, keep building, keep believing. Because something is waiting for you, something powerful, something that will justify every moment you felt unseen, something that will reward every silent effort, something that will validate every tear you held quietly, something that will transform every dark night into wisdom, something that will turn every doubt into faith, something that will make you look back and say, I understand. Now, I understand why it had to be this way. I understand why certain people could not stay. I understand why my path felt lonely. I understand why my silence was necessary. I understand why my name outside grew wild, even when I didn't try. My delightful audience, welcome back. Today, we unravel the sinister tapestry of lies where shadows writhe and truth sharpens its claws. Shall we dive into the chaos? Let's begin. Ah, yes, the fraudulent ones, the liars, the schemers, the pretenders who stitched their empire together with threads of deception and manipulations. They thought they could bury the truth, suffocate it, and drown it in the shadows. But they underestimated one thing. Truth is like fire. It cannot be snuffed out, no matter how much they try. It will scorch everything in its path and leave nothing but ashes of their lies behind. They want you to stay quiet. They want you to retreat into the silence of your own mind, to second-guess your every word, to swallow the truth that burns inside you. They want you to remain small, insignificant, docile, so they can continue their reign of deception, knowing that the truth you carry within you is the very thing that threatens to dismantle their fragile empire. Your truth is a weapon, a sword forged in the fires of experience, pain, and revelation. It has the power to cut through their lies, to expose the deceit that has allowed them to thrive. They know this. They fear it. That is why they try to silence you, to bury your voice under the weight of their manipulations, to make you doubt yourself, your worth, your very existence. But understand this. Their fear of you is not a sign of your weakness. It is a testament to your power. The truth you possess is not just a fleeting idea, a passing thought. It is a force, a tidal wave of clarity that can destroy everything they have worked so hard to build on a foundation of falsehoods. They want you to stay quiet because deep down, they know that once you speak your truth, once you stand up and show the world who you really are, their empire of lies will crumble. They will be exposed for what they are, nothing but empty shells, hiding behind masks of falsehoods, pretending to be something they are not. Do not let them dictate your silence. Do not let them trap you in the darkness of their lies. The truth is yours to own, to wield, to share with the world. And once you release it, once you allow it to spill out from the depths of your soul, there will be no stopping the destruction it brings. The world will be forced to face the consequences of their deception. They will be forced to reckon with the lies they have told and the damage they have caused. And in that reckoning, you will stand tall, unapologetic, unyielding. It is easy to be silent. It is easy to let the weight of their manipulation keep you in check, to play the game by their rules. It is easy to allow yourself to shrink, to fade into the background, to let your voice go unheard. But let me ask you this. What will happen when you finally realize that your silence only serves to protect them? What will happen when you realize that the very thing you are trying to protect, the peace you think you are preserving by staying quiet, is the very thing that is allowing them to continue their deception? Your silence is not the solution. It is the weapon they use against you. They know that if they can silence you, they can keep their lies intact. They know that if they can make you doubt your own truth, they can continue their reign of terror unchallenged. But you must not allow them that power. You must not allow them to take your voice, to take your truth, to take the very essence of who you are. You have a responsibility now, a responsibility to yourself, to those who have suffered under their lies, to the world that deserves to know the truth. You cannot remain silent any longer. You cannot allow them to control the narrative, to shape reality with their deception. You are the keeper of the truth, and it is time for you to rise, to step forward, to speak out. I know the fear you feel. I know the doubt that creeps into your mind, the voice that tells you that you are not strong enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough to stand against them. But let me remind you of something important. Fear is the tool of the oppressor. It is the chain they use to keep you bound. And once you break free from that fear, once you realize that your truth is more powerful than their lies, there will be no force on earth that can stop you. They want you to stay quiet because they are afraid of what will happen when you finally speak. They know that once you speak the truth, there will be no turning back. Once the truth is out there, once it is spoken aloud, it will echo in the hearts and minds of all who hear it. It will shatter their carefully crafted illusions. It will expose their weaknesses, their insecurities, their corruption. It will reveal the ugly truths they have been hiding for so long, the truths they thought they could bury forever. And when that happens, they will not know what to do. They will not know how to cope with the destruction of their empire. They will not know how to handle the fallout of their lies. They will be lost in the chaos of their own making, scrambling to repair the damage they have caused. But by then, it will be too late. The truth will have already been spoken, and nothing can undo its power. So do not stay quiet. Do not let them win. Do not let them continue their reign of deception without challenge. Your truth is your weapon, your shield, your power. And once you wield it, once you let it loose, there will be no force in the world that can stand against you. They want you to stay quiet because they know that your truth will ruin them. They know that once you speak, once you reveal the lies they have been hiding behind, their world will come crashing down. They know that their carefully constructed facade will shatter into 1,000 pieces, and there will be no way to put it back together again. But they also know that their biggest weapon is your fear of speaking out, of standing up, of revealing the truth. They rely on that fear to keep you in check, to keep you silent. But what they do not realize is that fear is a fleeting thing. It is a momentary weakness, a shadow that can be cast aside when you choose to rise above it. And once you rise, once you find the strength within yourself to speak the truth, that fear will no longer hold you back. It will no longer have any power over you. And in that moment, you will become unstoppable. You have the power to destroy their empire. You have the power to expose the lies, to bring their deceit into the light. You have the power to turn their world upside down and watch as it crumbles to the ground. All you need to do is speak the truth. All you need to do is find the courage to stand tall, to rise above their manipulation, to refuse to be silent. The world is waiting for your truth. The world is waiting for you to step forward and reveal the lies that have been hidden for so long. The world is waiting for you to speak the words that will bring their empire to its knees. And when you do, when you finally speak the truth, you will not just be freeing yourself, you will be freeing everyone who has suffered under their lies. You will be setting the world on fire with the truth, and there will be no force powerful enough to put it out. So rise, speak. Do not let them keep you quiet any longer. Your truth is the weapon they fear, and it is time to use it. The world is waiting for you. And when you speak, when you reveal the lies that have held you back, you will not only destroy them, you will destroy the chains that have kept you in silence. You will break free, and nothing will ever be the same again. The fraudulent ones, the ones who have made their life's work about controlling the narrative, manipulating minds, and crafting illusions, have no idea the fire they are playing with. For in every lie they tell, every deceit they sow, they plant the seeds of their own destruction. Every mask they wear, every falsehood they breathe, they grow weaker and weaker, more fragile with every passing moment. And yet, they continue, like parasites feeding off the lies they have woven into the fabric of the world around them. They thrive on the silence they impose, and they want you to remain silent because they know, yes, they know, that your voice is a hurricane waiting to be unleashed. It will tear their empire apart and leave their falsehoods scattered to the wind. They want you to remain in the shadows, hidden behind the walls of uncertainty. They want you to think that your voice is not worthy, that your story is insignificant. They want you to shrink back and allow them to control the narrative, because they understand that if you ever stand tall, if you ever step out into the light and speak the truth, you will expose them for what they are. They understand the destructive power that lies within you, and they are terrified of it. Your voice is the knife that can slice through their deceit, and the sharpness of your words can unravel everything they have spent their lives constructing. But do you understand the depth of your own power? Do you realize that your silence only serves them? That your compliance with their wishes, your submission to their control, is the very thing that allows them to thrive? They want you to remain small, because small voices cannot shatter empires. Small voices do not pose a threat to their carefully sculpted lies. But you, yes, you are not small. You are not weak. You are not insignificant. Your truth is the tidal wave that will come crashing down, sweeping away everything in its path. And they know this. The truth you carry is not just a reflection of your life, your experience, or your feelings. It is a weapon forged in the fires of struggle, tempered with the sharp edges of pain, and carved out of the unyielding will to survive. Your truth is not something that can be dismissed with a wave of their hand. It is not something they can erase with their lies. It is a truth so undeniable, so unshakable, that once it is spoken, it will echo throughout the world. They know this. That is why they will do everything in their power to make you doubt your truth, to silence your voice before it ever has a chance to be heard. They know that once you speak, the ground beneath them will tremble. They know that once your words reach the air, their facade will crumble. But do not be fooled into thinking that their power is real. Do not let their deceit convince you that they are invincible. They are not. Their empire of lies is built on nothing but hollow promises, fragile fabrications, and fleeting illusions. It is a house of cards that will collapse the moment the truth shines its light upon it. They have spent years, decades, perhaps even lifetimes weaving this web of deception, but it is all held together with the thread of your silence. Your compliance with their demands to remain quiet is the only thing keeping their falsehoods from collapsing under the weight of reality. But that thread is breaking. It is fraying. And with each passing day, it becomes weaker and weaker. You may not feel it yet, but deep within you, something is stirring. The truth inside you is beginning to claw its way to the surface. You can feel it, can't you? You can feel it burning, itching, longing to be set free. The more you stay quiet, the more unbearable it becomes. And that, my friends, is the moment when the power truly shifts, when you can no longer keep the truth locked inside. When the weight of it becomes too much to bear, you'll finally understand the strength you hold. You're not just fighting for yourself. You're not just fighting to have your voice heard. No, your fight is much larger than that. Your fight is for everyone who has been silenced by their lies, for everyone who has suffered in the shadows, for everyone who has been told that their truth does not matter. Your fight is for those who have been manipulated, gaslit, and discarded by those who think they are invincible. Your fight is for justice. Your fight is for the world that deserves to see the truth, to know what has been hidden in the darkness for far too long. And when you speak, when you finally find the courage to step into the light and let your voice ring out, everything will change. You will not just be freeing yourself from the shackles of silence, you will be freeing others too. You will give them permission to stand tall, to speak their truth, to rise above the lies that have kept them bound for so long. Your words will inspire others to reclaim their power, to break free from the chains of fear and doubt that have held them captive. And together, you will create a ripple effect that cannot be stopped. Together, you will tear down the walls they have built around you. Together, you will expose the lies for what they are. They want you to stay quiet, to retreat into the shadows of their control. They want you to believe that your truth is insignificant, that it does not matter. But I am here to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. Your truth matters. It matters because it is the only thing that can save you from their manipulation. It matters because it is the only thing that can expose them for the frauds they are. It matters because it is the one thing they fear the most. Your truth is the sword that will pierce their armor. Your truth is the storm that will tear down their walls. And once the truth is unleashed, there will be no going back. They will not be able to hide from it. They will not be able to silence it. They will not be able to control it. You may not see it yet, but the moment you speak your truth, you will become a force of nature. You will become a hurricane that will destroy everything in its path. You will become the wave that crashes against their lies, the fire that burns away their deceit. And when the dust settles, when the chaos subsides, you will be standing there, unbroken, unapologetic, and free. And they, those who have lied, those who have manipulated, those who have hidden behind their falsehoods, will be left in ruins. Their empire will be gone, their power will be shattered, and they will be forced to face the consequences of their actions. Do not fear the chaos that will come when you speak your truth. Do not fear the destruction it will bring, for in the destruction there is freedom, there is rebirth, there is the chance to rebuild from the ashes of their lies. The world will not remain the same after you speak. It cannot. Their empire will fall, but the truth will rise. And in the aftermath, you will see the world for what it truly is. You will see the power of truth, the power of your voice, the power of the one thing they could never control, you. So rise, speak. Do not stay silent any longer. The world is waiting. Your truth is waiting. And once you unleash it, nothing will ever be the same again. They want you to stay quiet because they fear the power you hold. But you are stronger than their fear. You are greater than their lies, and you will rise. The time for silence is over. The time for truth has come. Let us pause for a moment, my friends, and reflect on the world that we have lived in, the world they want us to remain silent in. It's a world filled with false promises, glittering illusions, and fabricated stories that have been woven to cover up the stark reality of what truly lies beneath. But in this illusion, you have been raised to believe that you are powerless. You have been conditioned to shrink, to hide, to remain silent in the face of overwhelming oppression. They have convinced you that speaking out would be pointless, that your truth would have no effect, that your voice would be swallowed by the noise of the world. They want you to believe that your silence is your survival. They want you to think that by staying quiet, you will avoid the wrath of those who have built their entire existence on lies. But let me tell you something. That silence is not your salvation. It is your prison. They know that as long as you remain quiet, they are free to do as they please, to weave their web of lies without challenge. They know that your silence means that the world will never hear the truth that could bring their reign to an end. But the truth, my friends, is far more powerful than they could ever imagine. And once you understand that, once you realize that your truth is the one thing they fear more than anything else, you will stop hiding. You will stop being silent. They have created this world, a world where silence is the currency of survival, where only the loudest, most ruthless voices are allowed to thrive. They have made you believe that only those who are willing to compromise, to play their games, to silence their inner truths are worthy of success. They have manipulated you into thinking that if you speak out, if you stand up, you will be crushed, ignored, or punished. But this, my friends, is a lie. They want you to believe that your voice does not matter, that your truth does not hold any weight in this world. They want you to feel insignificant. They want you to think that no one will listen to what you have to say. And they do this because they know the truth you carry is dangerous to them. They know that once you begin to speak your truth, it will ignite a fire that will burn through their carefully constructed world of lies. It will expose everything they have hidden, every wrong they have committed, every dark corner they have swept their deeds into. But they do not have the power to silence you forever. They may have manipulated the systems, twisted the narratives, and created an environment where truth is often drowned out by the noise of their lies. But they cannot destroy the truth that lives within you. They cannot bury the fire that burns inside your soul, the fire that longs to be set free. And you, my friends, you are the key to unlocking that fire. You are the one who holds the power to dismantle the empire they have built on deceit. You are the one who can bring their house of cards crashing down. Understand this. They want you to stay quiet because they know that the moment you speak, everything changes. They know that once the truth is spoken, the world will be forced to reckon with it. No longer will they be able to hide behind their lies. No longer will they be able to control the narrative. The truth is the ultimate weapon, and they know that. That is why they are so afraid of it. That is why they have spent so much time and energy trying to keep you silent. But the truth is not something they can control. They can try to suppress it, to bury it, to drown it out with their noise. But in the end, it will always rise to the surface. The truth is like water. It cannot be contained. It will find a way to break free, to escape the confines they have placed upon it. And when it does, it will be unstoppable. Your truth, your voice, is no different. It is powerful beyond measure. It is a force of nature that cannot be denied. Now, think about the fear they have of your truth. Why do they fear it so much? Why do they go to such lengths to silence you? It is because your truth threatens everything they have worked for. It threatens their power. It threatens their influence. It threatens the very foundation of the world they have created. A world built on lies and deceit. They cannot afford for you to speak your truth, because they know that once you do, everything they have constructed will come crashing down. The facade they have so carefully built will shatter, and they will be exposed for who they truly are. And what are they really? What are the people who thrive on deception, who live their lives built on the backs of lies? They are nothing but hollow shells. They are weak, fragile, insecure beings who have no power of their own. The only reason they appear strong is because they have convinced you to be silent. They have convinced you that they are invincible, that their lies are unassailable. But nothing could be further from the truth. They are afraid. They are terrified that if you speak, if you stand up, if you reveal the truth, everything they have built will come crashing down. They are like the Wizard of Oz, bluffing their way through life, hiding behind the curtain of deception, afraid of being exposed for the frauds they are. But you are the one who can expose them. You are the one who can pull back the curtain and show the world who they really are. You are the one who can shine the light of truth into their darkness, revealing the lies they have lived by for so long. And once you do that, once the world sees them for what they truly are, there will be no going back. Their power will crumble. Their influence will fade. They will be nothing more than a memory, a shadow of the past. And you, my friends, you will be the one who made that happen. They want you to stay quiet because they know that if you speak, if you tell the world what you know, their world will collapse. But they do not realize that silence is not the answer. Silence is the very thing that keeps them in power. Silence is what allows them to keep their lies intact. Silence is what allows them to keep manipulating you and the world around you. But the moment you speak, the moment you stop allowing them to control your voice, everything changes. You are not just speaking for yourself. You are speaking for everyone who has been silenced by their lies. You are speaking for everyone who has been oppressed, manipulated, and discarded. You are speaking for everyone who has been told that their truth does not matter. And when you speak, others will follow. Your voice will give them the courage to speak their truth as well. And together, you will create a movement, a revolution that cannot be stopped. You will expose the lies. You will tear down the walls. You will shatter the empire of deceit that has been built over generations. But they will not go down easily. They will fight to keep you silent. They will try to make you doubt yourself. They will try to make you question whether your truth is worth speaking. They will throw obstacles in your way. They will try to convince you that you are wrong, that you are crazy, that you are better off staying quiet, but you must resist. You must stand firm in the face of their intimidation. You must remember that their fear of you is not a sign of your weakness, but a testament to your power. You hold the key to their destruction. You hold the weapon that will bring their empire to its knees, and all you have to do is speak. All you have to do is find the courage to tell the truth. When you do that, you will not just be freeing yourself from the chains of silence. You will be freeing the entire world. You will be the spark that ignites the fire of truth, and once that fire is lit, there will be no stopping it. So, rise up. Speak your truth. Do not let them control you any longer. The world needs your voice. The world needs your truth. And when you speak, when you stand tall in the face of their lies, you will change the world forever. Your silence has held power for too long. Now, let your truth roar. Let it shatter the darkness. Let it expose the lies. Let it bring down the empire they have built on deception. The world is waiting for you to speak. And when you do, you will be unstoppable. In the end, remember this. They want you to stay quiet because they fear the power of your truth. But your silence is not your strength. It is your prison. Your truth is the weapon they cannot control, the force they cannot deny. So rise, speak, and let your voice shake the foundations of their empire. The moment you step into the light, the moment you speak your truth, everything changes. You are not just freeing yourself, you are freeing others. And together, you will tear down their lies and build a world where truth reigns supreme. The time for silence is over. It's your time to speak.